everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Rob here at Smirking Gun Reviews, back to talk more His Dark Materials Season 2. We have made it to the halfway point. This is episode 4. This is our big middle of the season episode. We only got 3 episodes after this. Full spoilers. If you didn't notice, a little warning at the beginning. I also want to thank everybody that has been choosing to watch these. I know that these episodes get played early on the BBC, so if you wait for HBO Max, you're waiting a little while longer. So those of you that have already seen it and have watched other people and you come to this video, thank you very much. And if you're not a subscriber, please become a subscriber. Don't forget to hit the like button, all that stuff. Share, hit the bell for all notifications, yada, yada, yada. Go to my PayPal at paypal.me if you want to donate to the channel, all that crap. So, because it was made aware to me that YouTube is running ads on my channels whether I monetize or not. And I'm thinking to myself, well, if that's one of the reasons why I never monetize, is because of those kind of things. So if they're going to just make money off of my stuff without me monetizing things, then I might as well monetize when I can. And so I am. So I had to go back on that one. Never monetize until you find out that the company is monetizing your videos without you, taking all the money for themselves. So Tower of the Angels. I don't know what my expectations were going into this episode. I was hoping we were going to get some big stuff happening here. And what we get really is the middle of a book where, you're headed towards the climax. And where things start to build towards the end. So there's 3 main stories going on here. We've got Lyra, Will, and Giacomo Paradiso at the tower. We've got Lee Scoresby meeting Grauman, who actually wants to be called Japari. He's finally on the show. I can't remember his full name. Scott, who I loved as Moriarty on Sherlock and also on Fleabag as the priest in that. There's that part of the story where, Lee finally finds this guy that he's been led to. And then the third part of the story is kind of Boreal and Mary Malone. Boreal trying to get involved with her technology or her uses towards communicating with dark matter. Mrs. Coulter getting involved with that because he needs, she wants Lyra. He wants the, all the stuff. He wants the alethiometer. He wants the knife. He's using her. She's using him. And in the middle, you've got Mary trying to figure out basically the mental equation of cracking the code of the dark matter to start communicating it with it like Lyra does. So everything is kind of set on its way by the end of this episode. Everything that they were working towards, they get, and then it's literally waiting for the collisions to hit. So the beginning of this, though, was like, man, this was a straight-up Lord of the Rings, tip of the hat to that, because the way the style and the narration, you'd swear you were listening to Cate Blanchett doing the whole story about the 9 rings, or was it the 12 rings? I don't know. There's a lot of rings floating around in Lord of the Rings, but only one to smite them. But that whole thing about the subtle knife, done very well, done really Lord of the Ringsy. I really appreciated that. Talking about what the people in that world that Lyra and Will are in, the middle world between places. How the people had the subtle knife. They used it for greed. It was their undoing. These things called the Spectres showed up. And then when Azrael's window opened, a whole bunch more came through. That I don't know what's going on about. Like, are they everywhere? Or they continue, why did they first come to this place? Because they were misusing the knife. Why were there more of them coming through when Azrael opened his window? Those are the kind of answers that this episode poses. We hear these things, but we don't have explanations for them. And so the specters arrived. They took everything over with this flood of specters. And that's how the episode starts. Now, as far as, like, let's go into Lyra's story first, because their whole thing is getting into the tower, right? They got to get into the tower, get the knife for Boreal so that they can get the alethiometer back. Uh, Long story short, bada bing, bada boom, they get into the tower. All right, there's a lot of scenes where they're just like still getting to the tower. How do we get to the tower? Like, this was kind of a, there was a lot of scenes that didn't really need to be there. If they, they probably could have cut out some of the looking to get into the tower stuff. There's like a scene in the middle that doesn't really need to be there. Um, but once they get inside, they meet Terrence Stamp, who I was really happy to see in this show. If you don't know who Terrence Stamp is, most people would say, he's High Chancellor Valorum in, the Phantom Menace, or he was General Zod from Superman 2. I also like to mention that he was in Steven Soderbergh's The Limey, which is a fantastic revenge movie with Terrence Stamp and Peter Fonda. Fantastic movie there. Um, or he's this bearer of this knife, but it's been stolen by one of the kids in the village, who, I he's just manic. This kid is really enraged. He wants to fight. He's scared. That's mostly what this is. The specters are after him, and he's running scared. And he's got the knife. He's not thinking. He gets into a fight with Will. Will loses a couple of his fingers in the fight. It's an interesting fight. I don't really know why it has to be here, but it is. And so they get the knife from the kid. He runs away. I mean, that's it. It just, instead of just being, I guess there was no plan for drama. That the guy literally was a guy just up in the tower. He wasn't sitting up there waiting to fight anybody. He's just literally the bearer of the knife, away from the specters. I guess they can't get up in there. They don't really explain that. Or if they do, I missed it. So I just don't know, I guess for drama's sake, to have something happen when they got up there. It also correlates with the way that this Giacomo got the knife himself. He also is missing a couple of fingers. So Will's already lost like a couple of fingers in this journey. I mean, he's taking a lot of beatings. He takes a lot of hits here, and by the time he gets into that bath, he actually has earned it. He's been tore up. That fight really takes a lot out of him. And so they have this whole passing of the torch kind of thing, except it's passing the bearing of the knife. And he finds out that the knife on one end can cut anything in the world. Anything. And the other end will slice through worlds. You can create windows into other worlds. This is a pretty... As far as MacGuffins go, or quest items, this is a pretty powerful one. This is a pretty big deal, being able to cut anything like frickin' Wolverine's claws. And then on the other hand, be able to get in and out of worlds. They go through a whole thing of how you have to seal it up. It is a little ziplocky. It is a little ziplocky how they do that. But it's pretty cool. There are rules to it, about, always closing a window, making sure a window is closed when you open it. It's one of those weird things. Or it was the opposite of that. I can't remember. Don't let anybody else use the knife. Only use it, for good. Don't try to, become egotistical about it. And keep it a secret. And then he proceeds to just go, it's yours now. I'm going to go meet my destiny in private. Which is basically it looks like he I think he took poison. Or that was just one little really small bottle of booze that he takes as the specters come and do whatever they do. We don't know. In fact, the kid from earlier, he gets attacked by one, and we don't know where they go. We don't know what happens to them. or why? And are these shadows to me, I'm thinking that they're part of dust, and that they remind me of what Mary Malone is talking to eventually here in the episode. So, Will and Lyra get the knife. The guy dies, and they decide that they have to get the alethiometer back by stealing it, and that's the end of their story. It really that's it. It's the good stuff in there is with Will and showing like just how important he is as a character. He is very brave, and I like Terrence Stamp in this a lot. Talking to them about how how he needs her for the wisdom, she needs him for his bravery, and in the meantime, we've got Lee Scoresby finally meeting Will's dad, who's basically been stuck here, working with Azrael, even though Azrael could probably have taken him, I don't know, if they're working on, getting him home, or trying to protect the future from what's happening. It's a big enough thing to leave your family for, which is kind of the theme that both Azrael and Jopari, or Grauman, or whoever's name you want to use, have in common. They both saw the power of what they were doing for the future of all humanity to rise above, fascism and the lack of free thought, and that, what he says is, I want to make sure that I leave the world in a better place for my kid, kind of like, I got to do something that frees him of that tyranny, and that's why it's worth walking away from your family. But Azrael, I don't know. I feel like Japari is a little bit different than Azrael. Japari seems to actually miss his son over Azrael, who just didn't kill Lyra and killed Roger instead because, hey, I have a different kid. If Roger hadn't shown up, he would have sacrificed her. Is Japari the kind of guy that would do the same thing to Will? I don't know. But he is weird. I like that. So they're just trying to... He had to go find him. And basically that journey is back to the knife. We get more of the story of the knife, about how it kills immortals, and that if Lee and him work together for the same cause, Lyra will be under the protection of the subtle knife. But that, it doesn't mean that it's going to protect her. Like if her connection to Will, whoever the bearer is, they don't know that it's Will. Japari doesn't know that his son is the new bearer. Saying that following him will take her down a real dangerous path, and it's all just a lot of exposition of where we're headed. There's no real anything really happening here other than, hi, we meet, let's go, and just talk about the details of fatherhood and things like that. And it's not bad. It's just 52 minutes of this. Now, I guess in a way, and the reason I saved this for last is kind of because it's the biggest deal, and I feel like the Boreal, Mary, Mrs. Coulter story is the most interesting, probably, or besides getting a knife, because Boreal shows up right at Mary Malone's research, getting the info in, wants to put money in on her work. But she's just, as soon as she asks him, who are you affiliated with, he clams up, starts talking all sorts of around things, and she just shuts it down. Like, nope, I don't know who you are, you're shady as fuck, no, get out. And I love it, because he's thinking that she's just going to be another one of those people that has a price. That is just, he's probably seen enough of this world, our world, to know that we're just a bunch of greedy assholes, and there's always a price. But Mary doesn't want to pay that price. She doesn't want to do it. So Boreal gets turned down, and, it's, like I said, it's not a lot of people that would do the whole, choosing money and glory over what's right. The guy that she works with is clearly headed towards, he wants the money. But so Boreal reaches out to Mrs. Coulter because he has her. He thinks he has her. I love that, Marissa, tells him, Lyra's got a great way of getting out of traps, and he tells her about, well, they're out there looking for the subtle knife. He does not tell her that he's got the alethiometer. He can't hold that card to her, even though it should be pretty easy to figure out what that is. I mean, the only other thing it would be to have her daemon maybe, but I don't even know if they can get that far away from each other. So, because he hasn't taken his final form, I don't know how all that works yet. But he says that he's got something of Lyra's that she'll want to come back for. They're going after this other thing that he needs, again being real sketchy and subtle. Her just going, okay, I'll come with you. Take me to this other world, where she crosses through. Now, I thought she was from another world, but maybe I'm wrong. Um, Meanwhile, just kind of quickly, you've got the witches deciding to go to Azrael's window to go after Lyra, knowing it's heavily defended. Um, so he's basically trying to get, like saying that she can have Lyra once, they come back with the thing he needs and all of that without saying any of this to her. And she's going along with it because she knows he's not saying everything, but also that pull to find her daughter is, also there. And it's still, again, like, I'm like, oh, I keep always wondering, why does she want her daughter so bad? But it is because she is the key. She wants to be there, not as a mother per se, but as, the one who gets to be next to the one that's important, to feel important about that themselves. I feel like is a chase that's between Azrael and Marissa and Boreal, and a lot of this is ego, I think, and wanting to be first and wanting it to all have meant something. Everything that they've been doing, you know. Um, and so we get to, after Japari blows the wind for Lee and everything, Mary, though, is the one that gets the big kind of, oh wow moment, where she finally cracks the code mentally. She finally figures out how to reach it, and it just says, like very, kind of malevolent sounding a little bit, just ask a question. And that we find out that shadow and dust are the same thing, basically. That dark matter is what dust and shadow matter is. That dark matter has has consciousness, and that they're called angels. Now, as soon as the word angels came out, this show almost lost me. Because I just had to, like, my whole brain that doesn't believe in any of this had to go like and make an adjustment and just go with it. It's whoever wrote this is the story they're telling. You don't have to believe it to enjoy the story that's being told. So I put my brain back into gear after I heard the word angels, and they're talking about how they're basically matter and spirit that are one. They've been interfering, and with human evolution. And when asked why they're doing that, they said vengeance. Now, that's the end of the episode. That's why they intervene in our evolution. And I think it's real interesting because does this go back to like the original fight in heaven in the in the Bible of God choosing humans above angels and stuff? Is that part of what we're talking about right here? Elevating humans over angels, I guess, and angels not being too happy about that in the Bible. Um, and right, as that's happening, right after that, you actually have like angelic people flying through the sky. You get the witches attacking the defense of Azrael's window. And it's a pretty fun scene. It's quick. It's brief. It's like, why don't they just do this all the time and just wipe out the Magisterium altogether? It's like one witch took out all by herself easily an airship. They were all taken out by other witches. So I don't know. Like, explain to me why they had to watch their whole forest burn where all their power and a lot of the other witches died. Apparently hundreds died. Look, I'm not making fun of it, and I'm not criticizing it. I just want some explanations in the comment section if you guys want to go ahead and hit me up there. So that's Tower of the Angels. Like I said, there's some stuff here. There's always some stuff here. Even in like the worst episode of TV, there's usually something you can pull out. And this isn't bad. It's just, again, more build up to what's coming. And it feels like we're really setting up for like the back half. And I think 6 and 7 are going to be bananas. But if you watch the trailer for next week, Mrs. Coulter's confronting Mary, and I'm sure this is where you see the alethiometers in play. They're trying to get that back. So we'll see what happens in episode 5. So if you like this review, please hit the like button, comment, share, subscribe again if you haven't already become a subscriber. We'll be back next week with episode 5. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll be back later. Bye.